Central Park. In addition to its 843 acres of rolling meadows, boulder-studded outcroppings, elm-lined walkways, manicured European-style gardens, a lake, and a reservoir, Central Park also features an outdoor theater, a memorial to John Lennon, a picturesque waterside restaurant, and a famous statue of Alice from Wonderland. Highlights include the Central Park Zoo, the forested-like trails of the Ramble, which are well liked by bird watchers, and the 15-acre sheep meadow, where hundreds of people recline and play on warm days. Shakespeare in the Park, an annual play staged each summer at the outdoor Delacorte Theatre, features top-notch theater and free outdoor concerts on the Great Lawn. Other recommended stops include the Shakespeare Garden, which offers a great view of the skyline and is located on the west side between 79th and 80th STS. The Central Park's past. Similar to the city's subway system, Central Park, a rectangle of open space in the midst of Manhattan, is a tremendous leveler of classes, just as it was intended to be. The vast park was developed in the 1860s and 70s on the swampy northern edge of the city by Frederick Law Olmsted and Calvert Vaux as a recreational area for all New Yorkers, regardless of race, class, or belief. Central Park is actually just the fifth largest park in New York City, trailing Flushing Meadows Corona Park in Queens, the Greenbelt on Staten Island, and Pelham Bay and Van Cortlandt Parks in the Bronx. But in affluent, crowded Upper Manhattan, nearly 800 acres is nothing to sneeze at, even in the mid-19th century, when New York City was only a small portion of what it is today. Much of the land had to be taken by eminent domain. Ironically, the land that is now Central Park was taken from communities like Seneca Village, which is where immigrants and members of the free black community call home. Olmsted and Vaux were tasked with constructing a place for the middle and lower classes to congregate away from taverns and in place of garden cemetery from that undeveloped, marshy material. The wealthy could view and be seen here in their carriages and promenading in beautiful dress. During a trip he subsequently described in his travel diary, Walks and Talks of an American Farmer in England, Olmsted was inspired by Birkenhead Park in Liverpool, the first taxpayer-funded public park in England. The challenge, of course, would be to transform what once had been pig muck and urban debris into a landscape that felt like it belonged in America. The outcome was a vast green park that seemed unique from the neighboring metropolis in both its democratic vision and pastoral vastness. After many years, enormous quantities of money, thousands of laborers, and slow development during the Civil War. Additionally, it was a feat of engineering. In order to keep foot circulation and vehicular traffic apart, Olmsted and Vaux, who also built Prospect Park in Brooklyn, intelligently planned the crosstown transverses under elevated highways. It's also an oasis from the urban crush. The lush lawns, cool forests, flowering gardens, glassy bodies of water and meandering, wooded paths provide the dose of serene nature that New Yorkers crave. The Central Park legacy. Olmsted's career was launched by the success of his vision and his first significant project with commissions from Buffalo to San Francisco, from the meticulously maintained grounds of the Biltmore Estate to the meandering parks of Atlanta. It's understandable why it's one of the most well-known filming locations in cinema history, given that it appears in films like Hair, When Harry Met Sally, Enchanted, and The Muppets Take Manhattan, both as a character and as a background. It also comes as no surprise that Central Park swiftly emerged as a focal point of New York architecture, surrounding by structures that both capitalize on the city's backyard location and attempt to live up to its opulent past. The skyline surrounding Olmsted's creation is almost as iconic as downtown treasures like the Empire State Building, Chrysler Building, or Brooklyn Bridge, and includes recent additions like the tall, skinny Central Park Tower that climbs to 1,550 feet over its namesake, and penthouse apartments of the Dakota Building where Lauren Bacall, John Lennon, and other luminaries resided. Activities at Central Park. This People's Park is still one of New Yorkers' favorite tourist destinations today, drawing large crowds all year long. The park is busier on warm weekends with runners, inline skaters, musicians, and visitors, but on weekday afternoons it is calmer, especially in the less traveled areas above 72nd St, including the Harlem Mere and the North Meadow, north of 97th St. You may go camping or fishing in Central Park throughout the summer without ever leaving Manhattan, or you can follow in the footsteps of innumerable movie characters and visit the Victorian Bow Bridge, which connects Cherry Hill and the Ramble by spanning Central Park Lake. The opulent Bethesda Fountain, which is close by and borders the lake, is a well-liked destination where you may rent rowboats or eat lunch.